spot. I'm feeling good. The sun is shining. I knew it would. The world's a playground. I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm on the big stage. I got my crew. I'll get you moving. It's what I do. The party's starting. It's going down. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. Check me out. Check me out. Just check me. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm in a sweet spot. I'm feeling good. The sun is shining. I knew it would. The world's a playground. I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm on the big stage. I got my crew. I'll get you moving. It's what I do. The party's starting. It's going down. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. earth shaker, rainmaker. Yeah, another level. Chain breaker, earth shaker, rainmaker. Yeah, another level. Chain breaker, earth shaker, rainmaker. Oh, to another level. I'm going all the way. I'm going. Yeah, my blood is rebel. I'm going all the way. I'm going to another level. To another level. Let's go, let's go, let's go. To another level. To another level. Let's hit it. To another level. I woke up feeling like this gon' be my day. I got that poppin' fire every.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another round here from the Formula X Racing Championship. I'm Yousuf MilkyCereal, still joined by Jacob Hancox as always. Now, you're going to be seeing our pretty faces a lot more in this pre-show, but before we get to that, let's take a look what happened last time out at round 7 at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. We are in for an exceptionally close Canadian Grand Prix. 5 red lights. The lights will go out and we are racing. And is that a jump start from the Ferrari? Because it was an incredible start from Maverick. He's already pretty much up into a P2 round the outside. He runs wide into turn 1 on the inside of Ruben. He got a really bad start. And it's the 2 Racing Points who are up into second and third. A crazy start for the Racing Points as Maverick goes down the inside into T3. He's got to pull off the move as Ruben cuts across the grass, almost Vettel-esque as he drops down the order.
Yeah, Tito up into, I think that's P5 as well. Oh no, Ruben straight into the back of Tito. And that's Mahavir they've collected as well. Some Ferrari front wing going flying. I'm sure there'll be some damage to the front end of that Red Bull as well. And Tito's been absolutely punted off the track by Ruben. He won't be too happy about that. And that's
Ruben's
Ruben
off
into
the
the
wheel.
wall. He was alongside Tito. I'm not sure if Tito threw him into the wall there. I didn't quite see that. But they were alongside each other and Tito would have been very upset with Ruben. I don't want to cast any blame there because I didn't see it properly. But Ruben ending up in the wall is very, very dramatic indeed. Mahavir Agunathan with a 5-second penalty. Gauzieg is going to be getting a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. I'm not sure if he's actually participating in this race though. Mahavir with a 5-second stop-go penalty and front wing damage. That's not the way you wanted to start. Of course, what this does give him the excuse to do is while the safety car's out, get in the pit, get rid of those ancient soft tyres and get on a fresh set of mediums.
See what happens. Safety car is in and we await a restart. Look at Owen AK. He's just getting ready to go. Soft tires compared to Kenna's medium, so he should be able to stick right with the Racing Point, but it's a good getaway from Kenna's, but he doesn't get a great run through turn 1. Front wing flying in the background as Owen AK. He goes for the switcheroo outside. He runs wide, he locks up, but he's going to hold the inside into 2. And he's actually made the move work on the restart. He loses the rear end and he taps the wall and the Racing Point goes right round him. And that's actually Connor Sheridan who's gone into the lead of the race.
Yeah, the Irishman in the lead in the Alfa Romeo. I bet he didn't think he'd be having that experience today. But Connor Sheridan will lead the way in the Alfa Romeo. Sipos and Elon Tusk going side by side back there. That's Sipos making his way up through the field now as he's looking to push past A2 UK as well, who is struggling a little bit on those hard tyres. Still in P5 at the moment, but it's going to be P6 sooner rather than later, unless he can hang on around the outside. No quarter given by the Hungarian, and A2 UK forced off track just a little bit there. He might have something to say about that after the race potentially. And that will be the Racing Point back up into the top of the order after having started that lap in first. He ended that lap in first, but he was once third, so that's a very interesting lap from him. Now,
round the outside of turn 2, we talked about this in the pre-race show that you can look for a move there, side by side as they make their way down towards turn 3. Owen on the outside, they squeeze each other, they give each other just enough room, and Iceman says thank you very much, and he slips past Owen up into P3, but Owen not done yet, late on the brake, side by side, little bit of contact as well. Kenneth picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Iceman's got the move done, and he's up into P3.
Lag moment there, down into P6 he goes. Elon Tusk and Outlaw battling as A2 UK also trying to get past Connor Sheridan around the outside of turn 2. That's a brave move to try and pull off on harder tyres, and he's not going to be able to do it, and as a result of it, Maverick will slither up his inside into turn 3, take the position away. Both of them going to manage around the outside of Connor Sheridan, who struggled through turn 4. Meanwhile, up towards the front, Sipos, with that front wing damage, he's all over the back of his teammate,
Connor Sheridan.
Iceman.
He went down the inside of A2 and he lost the back end, but right now, actually, never mind Maverick. He's got to go the long way round. Owen, are you kidding me? That is a crazy move from Maverick. Iceman, he uses all of his ERS. Chegwin's down to 0% ERS. He's tried so hard. Iceman dives into the pits. As Chegwin gets a great run out of the chicane, he's got to pull alongside on the run into the hairpin, and Chegwin, he's got the outside, he's got the move done as well, and he should have DRS as there's contact behind. Down the inside goes a Tito. 4-way battle for the lead. Chegwin from Kenneth, from Maverick, from Tito.
All kinds of bumping there through the hairpin there. That was Kenneth bumping the back of Lord Chegwin and then getting his own rear tapped by Tito, but now Maverick up into P2 as he has well more speed down the straight to Kenneth, who does dive into the pits. What on earth just happened there? Tito was so late on the brakes, well too late. I think he was thinking about pitting, but he got... Oh, no, they've made contact again. What is that? That's Tito brake checking, I think. And how fast can he be on the softs?
Iceman from far back, he's gone down the inside into the hairpin. That's for P4. He's gone down the inside of Kenneth. Kenneth's on 7-lap old hard tyres. Iceman on fresh mediums. Iceman picks up the position. They both have DRS. Kenneth tucks right back in behind Iceman. He's using up all of his ERS on the back straight. Round the outside into the final chicane. Surely not. He plays it safe. Iceman's a force to take the short way through. He opens the DRS. He doesn't really care. And I think that might be one for the stewards book, because Iceman, you cannot do that.
He absolutely helped to retain that position, or rather gain that position through unfair means, as he now pushes his way up past A2 UK as well. And Ruben hardly even been in the race.
Sipos going for the move down the inside into the final chicane. He'll pick up the position.
Oh,
no. That was so obviously gonna happen. Elon, come on. You're better than that.
Curb just a little bit, but sometimes you can get away with that. Sipos and Iceman, they're going side by side through turn 4. How is that possible? Thankfully for the Williams team, neither of them make contact, neither of them end up in the wall. Iceman still behind, but look how much more grip he has, forcing Sipos to give him the space on the inside through turn 7, and now it's a drag race down towards turn 8. Who will break later? Of course, it's Iceman with the mediums, but he runs wide once again. He'll have to cede the position this time, if due to the laws of physics more than anything else. But Iceman back in P2, Sipos weaving a little bit, letting Iceman know what he thinks about that lunge up the inside into turn 8. Sipos with a squirrely moment, a real squiggle on the car through the exit of the hairpin, and that means the door will be wide open for Iceman, who has the DRS. Sipos has nothing of the sort. He has the slipstream to try and defend, but he's out of ERS deployment, and that's Iceman up into the lead of the race.
Because he's already 6 seconds ahead of Sipos, and those mediums will be staying nice and juicy for a while. But here comes Chegwin again on the outside into the hairpin, and I think he's got it done this time. He runs really wide, but he should be able to get a fantastic drive. Truex gets another time penalty. We don't care about that because Chegwin's got the drive. He's got the DRS as well. Surely this time round, Chegwin will take P3. There's contact. There's wheel tapping between the two of them as Kenneth is forced to slot in behind Chegwin. He'll have the DRS onto the start-finish straight, and he's got that little bit more ERS as well. They're both sub at 10% in the ERS department, but Chegwin has finally got the move done on his teammate.
Kenners. He's trying to take the position back. He will not take it lying down. It's a battle between the two pink cars here. Into the final couple of corners they go. Almost into the Wall of Champions. And all the way around goes Kenners. It's ended in tears after so much clean battling between those two.
And here comes A2 UK as well.
A2 UK surely going to get Kenners into turn 1 here as well. Lord Chegwin has cemented his grip on 3rd position for now, but with Elon Tusk close behind as A2 UK is battling with Kenners through the corner as well, and that's A2 UK having an incident there as he tried to turn in where there wasn't any space. Defend through turn 1. Tito trying to get the switch back here through turn 2, and he will do so nicely. All right, Tito. Kenners is out of the race. He got passed by A2 UK. He's lost it on the exit of turn 7, and he's gone into the wall.
Okay, but take a look at this battle for P3 because we're not done yet with the battles yet, Jacob. Chegwin and Elon both have the same amount of time penalties, and Elon round the outside. Is there anything Chegwin has in answer? 7-lap old soft tires. They're going to be nearing the end of their life, and I think Elon's done it. He's going to just absolutely hammer it down this lap. Here comes Iceman. It's been an absolutely crazy race at Canada, and Iceman has been the one who somehow got the strategies right. There were some questionable moments, but Iceman, he weaves and he'll take the checkered flag and the win here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Iceman takes the win. Sepos will be the next one home. He should be far enough ahead of Elon, who is now 6.5 seconds clear. Or he's 6.5 seconds clear of Elon, and then Lord Chegwin just behind. We'll see whether the time penalties come into play because Chegwin is within a second, and Chegwin jumps ahead on the line due to time penalties. Well, a rather crazy race at Canada, I think it's fair to say, Jacob. A lot, and I mean a lot of time penalties that came through. Shaped up the race all the way to the very end. But Iceman was the man who came out on top with yet another win in the Premier X division.
Yeah, absolutely. Iceman really cementing his grip at the top of the standings, as we will see in just a little while. But you actually mentioned briefly the time penalties, of course, the race, the game-generated time penalties for corner cutting and the like. There are a few other penalties added in the stewards room after the race. So I thought I'd briefly give you guys just a couple of notices about some of the things that were decided in the stewards room after the race. So first things first, we saw Tito involved in all kinds of incidents last time out in Canada. The Slovenian Renault driver has been removed from Premier X and will no longer be participating as a result of these incidents. Iceman also, for his not making the final chicane and actually gaining a place, or at least failing to lose a place as a result of it, was given a 10-second time penalty post-race. However, he finished with a 16-second margin, so that didn't actually change the order at all, surprisingly enough. And then the final thing is that Kenners actually managed to pick up 5 penalty points, but nothing else, due to an incident where he paused the game under the safety car, and that caused a little bit of sort of backing up under the safety car, a couple of incidents. That was a very minor one. But yeah, just 5 penalty points for Kenners on that one. And that was about it, surprisingly enough, considering how much carbon fiber went flying throughout that race.
Yeah, well, we did get that safety car at Canada. I want to say, I don't think we'll get a safety car at Austria. It's not a track where we usually see one, but if we do, I guess all drivers that are listening, make sure you don't pause under safety car, as it can cause some rather unfortunate shenanigans. A driver I do want to mention as well is Chegwin, because he had a really good race, and despite, you know, contact that he had under safety car, had to pit for a new wing, he was still able to take that P3. First ever time for him on the podium. He's looking quick heading into Austria.
Yeah, I mean, every race since he joined the championship, I want to say now 3 races ago, he's threatened to get to the podium. He's always looked fast. He's got a couple of 5th places in his pocket and now a 3rd place as well, which is exactly where we thought we'd see him coming sooner rather than later. He had a lot of pace back in Monaco as well, in the tricky conditions in qualifying and in the race itself. Of course, didn't get quite so lucky there, as he ended up getting last time out with everyone else's incidents on top of his own as well. But yeah, no, definitely a quick driver and someone that we can expect to spring a surprise here or there. And if it just so happens that he's had a good week's practice, maybe even challenge for a race victory or at least a pole position.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Chegwin, or Lord Chegwin, I should say, and Maverick are two of the drivers in the field that are racing on pad as well. So, you know, they are the quickest on pad, it seems, and maybe they can give each other a battle. We can have an unofficial Best Pad Racer award, and then put a sticker of Styles, Anakin in his pod racing thing. But, okay, that was terrible. I do apologize. I need to stop with those.
It was wonderful. Don't worry about it.
Oh, thank you.
Really top tier.
See, we're going to go to a break and you're going to tell me how bad it is and I should never do it again. But speaking of a break, we managed to catch up with Ruben once again, who took us for a hot lap here at the Red Bull Ring. Take a look. Welcome to another Formula X Racing hot lap. This time we ride on board with Ruben as he makes his way through the final corner here at Austria to show us how it's done at the Red Bull Ring. Using up all of the track, braking at about 70 meters down to 158 kilometers an hour, and right back on the power as you make your way onto the longest straight. That is, if you include the kink of turn 2 as part of the straight. Nice and late on the brakes, about 80 meters and all the way down to 67 kilometers an hour. Short shifting all the way up to 4th on exit. The hairpins here at Austria, so easy to lose the rear end. Get ready for turn 4 again, using up as much track as you dare. 90 meter board down to 2nd gear, short shifting up on exit. Again, easy to lose the rear end through the hairpins here at Austria. Watch out for that in the race on a Friday. Down to 4th gear for turn 5, carrying as much speed as you dare through the double left-handers, the reverse lesmos, as some like to call them, using up the curb on the exit as you make your way now down towards turn 8 and turn 9. 260 kilometers an hour, throwing the car in down to 4th gear through the final corner, back on the power, and that is a 103 dead here at Austria. Well, apologies for the little delay. I was, Jacob and I, we were having a nice little chat, and I may have completely forgotten that a hot lap only takes about a minute at Austria, and I thought I had another half a minute with us. So, Jacob, a quick lap here at Austria. We're looking at the 103s. Do you reckon we're going to be seeing anyone getting into that for qualifying?
Yeah, I think we should. I definitely hope that we will. I mean, we have some genuinely very fast drivers in this league now, and we're getting more and more fast drivers as well, is the thing. I mean, it used to be that Iceman was just the top driver right at the start of the season. A couple of people were able to take wins off of him, actually, in general, from the very beginning. But now, with Sipos arriving, and then with the likes of Ruben and Mahavir, of course, coming in as well, there's a lot of very, very fast drivers here. And yeah, I would be surprised if we didn't.
And I actually want to go to Mahavir and a few other drivers, because both Ferraris, Mahavir, Maverick, as well as the Red Bull of Ruben, last time out at Canada, they had pace. They got denied for one reason or the other, and they weren't able to pick up many points. They still have a lot more pace that they can show, and they will be hoping that Austria is the place that they can deliver.
Yeah, and Austria is definitely a place where you're more likely to be able to keep your nose clean than somewhere like Canada. Of course, Canada, better than Monaco, which was the race we had before, but still worse than most tracks when it comes to being able to keep yourself out of the wall and having enough space on the road, being able to battle with other drivers, and even just things like slippery traction zones. Canada has its fair share. There's only one moment where you should really struggle on traction for the most part in Austria, provided you're driving correctly. If you run wide through turn 1, you can struggle on the exit there. But out of the hairpin, turn 3, I suppose it technically is, that's really the only part where you should be really challenged when it comes to the throttle application, at least. And that should make it easier for a lot of these drivers to avoid losing some front wings, as we saw last time out.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of front wing at Canada. You're very close to the walls, and it is possible. Here at Austria, in the Austrian mountains, it's a lot more open, a lot less ways for you to slap your car into a wall. So, let's take a quick look at the championship standings heading into round 8 of the season. Only 12 rounds in FXR Season 1, so we are getting closer and closer to that end waypoint. Now, it is not possible for Iceman to take the championship win here tonight. He can do it next time out at Belgium, but we will have to wait until next week to see. Iceman, as expected, is leading the championship by 122 points. That is over Elon Tusk in the Alfa Romeo. Sipos is in P3 with 162 points. And then a further 23 points behind is Maverick in the Ferrari. Owen AK is one further point behind after a very good showing last time out at Canada. Kenners is in 6th, head of A2 UK. Chegwin, after his podium, is in 8th place, just 4 points behind A2 UK. Then we've got a bit of a drop to Lowenkert and Turex, with Sudek hot on his heels. And while we're talking about championship standings, Jacob, do you want to take people through the Constructors' Championship, if you have that up?
Sure, yeah, we can undo that, absolutely. So in first place, as you might expect, are the Williams boys. That is Iceman and Sipos, first and third in the drivers' standings. And of course, that means that they're on top overall in the Constructors with 458 points, which, because we have a different scoring system, sounds like an absolutely enormous amount. I mean, it's still very, very impressive. Neither of those drivers have finished anywhere that isn't first or second, so Williams really dominating it. Alfa Romeo are currently second with Elon Tusk and Connor Sheridan. Of course, Elon Tusk doing the majority of the heavy lifting there. AlphaTauri in third. Racing Point in fourth. Those two are very close to each other and both very close to Alfa Romeo as well. Just 12 points between second and fourth, from 205 to 193. Then a bit of a drop to Ferrari, but with Mahavir joining that particular side and with Maverick looking like he's got some pretty good pace in general, I'd expect to see Ferrari challenging those above them as well. Then Renault, McLaren, Haas, Red Bull, and finally Mercedes, whose only driver at the moment, I believe, is actually Tukis, and Tukis has not attended many races recently.
No, he has not. But that battle for P2, where you could see anyone from P2 all the way down to P5 really, take second place in the Constructors coming out of Austria. Of course, different point system here in FXR. You get 46 points for a win, 2 points for pole, 1 point for fastest lap. So a lot of points on offer, and with two high quality drivers like Maverick and Mahavir Raghunathan for Ferrari. And don't discount Racing Point either. Kenners and Lord Chegway have been doing an absolutely fantastic job as well recently. So a lot can happen in both the drivers and the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that could potentially happen in the Constructors' Championship, just looking at it now, Red Bull sitting down in ninth with Ruben and Lowenkert. Ruben, of course, was denied a finish last time out, denied any points because he was slammed into the wall by Tito on the opening lap after colliding with the back of the Slovenian driver into turn 6 in Canada. And as a result, he did not score anything like the points we would expect. But considering he qualified in P2, we would expect Ruben to be scoring solid points in general from here on out. So I'd expect to see Red Bull shooting up that order as well.
Yeah. However, with that said and done, we're going to be taking, well, I want to say a quick break, but we're going to be taking a look because I was able to get nice, close and personal with one of the Premier X drivers who talked to me about his hopes for the rest of the championship and his hopes for tonight's race. It's Iceman, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with championship leader Iceman, driver for Williams, leading the championship by, 122 points. Iceman, another win under your belt at Canada, and you must be feeling really confident heading into the final half of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I think the win in Canada was very important because I want to close the championship as soon as possible, to not have worries. I think that the competition is great, but so far I've proven myself that I can fight with anyone. First it was, at the first part of the season, Maverick was my main competitor. After that it became Sipos, but I think I have held my own against them. So I'm pretty happy with how things are standing.
Now, I don't think we can have this interview after the Canada race without bringing our latest addition to the FXR roster, Mahavir Raghunathan. In qualifying, he was right up there with you guys. How worried were you that the Ferrari man might be jumping ahead of you?
To be honest, I saw his time trial times and I was absolutely like, holy cow, this guy is fast. Because, his real life skill obviously translates well to a game. And not gonna lie, I was a bit scared. Like, wait, is he gonna beat me? Because I don't want to lose. But yeah, he definitely held his own. He didn't have the best of luck in the race, but I'm pretty sure like most of the people didn't. So yeah, I'm pretty interested to see how he does in the second race. He's a good friend of mine, so hopefully he can get some good results and see him on the podium maybe.
Yeah, you've had some practice with Mahavir in the past in some of the virtual events. I want to take a look at the upcoming tracks because we're heading to the faster, the more flowing circuits. Austria, Silverstone, Belgium. We won't talk about Silverstone and Belgium, but how do you how do you kind of compare these faster flowing circuits with the kind of tighter circuits like your Canadas and your Australias?
Well, here's the thing. Australia is a rare one because Australia isn't really a flowing circuit when you can take every corner in sixth or seventh gear. And but surprisingly, I like Australia. I've played it on every game basically, and yeah, it's my track. But tracks like Canada, Monaco, you can't be comfortable because it's so tight and like one mistake can cost your front wing at the whole race. But yeah, tracks like, I don't know, Silverstone, I have to check it with the online cars because I really don't like the Mercedes car in the game. But tracks like Austria definitely suit me because I really like fast track.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, you've got a lot of fast tracks coming up before we head to Brazil and Abu Dhabi to wrap things up. Final question then for you, Iceman. Oh, actually, I should say two questions. First of all, do you have any shout-outs?
Well, I really don't want to say this, but yeah, I have to give shout out to you actually because yeah, to the audience, we had a lobby race yesterday in free practice one, and yeah, Milky absolutely destroyed me.
Some would
Yeah.
say you were.
I'm not proud of this, but I
mean,
was, so I have to
I
give
would
you
say
credit.
that I didn't destroy you more so than the pit and exit wall destroyed you.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Okay, and a final question is, what track do you think you're going to take the title at? If you're going to take the title at all, I mean, maybe you don't think you'll win the championship, I don't know.
No, it's good to be confident. I don't like to take the cocky approach and be like, oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna win instantly. I personally aim to wrap up the championship at 3 races before the end.
Okay.
So I don't know what track that is in the
Belgium.
calendar. Yeah, so either at Belgium or the next track because I think if I push now to beat Seapols and you on Tusk in every race, then I think that I might wrap it up at Belgium. But if not, I think for sure I will have it without any mistakes two races prior to the season end.
Well, I guess, fortunately, you can't win the race at the very next track because you can only get 170 lead, but it is possible for you to win it by Belgium. So we will have to see for that, as I think your camera has frozen, Iceman. So that, I think that is the perfect point. Oh, it's coming back, I think. No, I think it's just died.
Oh, okay.
I think it has died. Let me see. Oh, it's back. There we go. Okay, so thank you, Iceman, for joining us. Best of luck in the race, well, from the time of recording tomorrow, but when people hear it in a few minutes time. So, you going to win again?
We will see. Thanks for having me in this interview.
No worries. Lovely to have you. Well, I do want to give a quick thank you over to Iceman for providing us with that interview and having a chat with me. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to him. Now, Jacob, we are into, I won't say the meaty part of qualifying yet, but we're into the meaty part of Q1. Only got 15 drivers, so it's just a bit of a practice session right now. A chance for everyone to just get accustomed to the track once again and see where everybody else is in terms of pace.
Yeah, see, the thing about Q1 is, because it doesn't matter, because we only have 15 drivers, no one's going to be knocked out in Q1. I would be filling my car up with fuel, and I would be simulating the opening stint of a race on soft tires. You have enough time in Q1 to do that. The session's 18 minutes long, but these guys seem to be doing quali sims. A lot of them have done one quali sim, and then because their tires will be worn out, they've just decided that's enough.
Yeah. And one man who definitely did a lot of those, race pace runs or race runs back at Canada was Mahavir Raghunathan. He is out on circuit right now, and we'll have to see how many laps Mahavir is going to be putting in these tires. At the moment, he's just on 1 lap all soft tires.
Yeah, apologies. I seem to be having a few lag issues. Hopefully that will be okay. But yeah, Mahavir in P7 at the moment, as you mentioned. Don't know if we're going to see similar things with him with his tires as we saw last qualifying. Hopefully not. I hope no one's using multiple sets of soft tires in this session either. That's something that we saw last time out in Canada from a fair few drivers, and probably not something they should have been doing. I want to quickly take note, unless you did when I lagged out, of Seb, currently sitting in P3 in the Haas. The Romanian driver is a new addition to the league for this race and will be with us for the remainder of the season in the Haas, and already up in P3 with his very, very first lap and his very first qualifying session, already going up to P2 straight afterwards as well. So definitely showing some really good pace at the very beginning of his Premier X career.
Yeah, Seb jumping in to the Haas, SMM driver just like Iceman, so maybe there'll be a little bit of rivalry between the two. Also, I hopefully have sorted out the stream issues, so do let me know if there are any further issues with the stream, and I can try my absolute best to resolve them. But Sipos in the lead, SMM Seb with a strong showing in his opening or his debut qualifying session here at FXR.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see which drivers are... Turix has used burning a second set of soft tires, and burning is the word because I just don't think there's any reason to be doing this whatsoever. KevGL, theoretically, Connor Sheridan, Owen AK, they've all got a fresh set of softs ready on their car if they're going to come back out of the pits. I hope that they don't, as Mahavir puts himself up into P5 for the time being. But yeah, this is very much just a free practice session for these guys. Most of them, in fact, I think all of them, just electing to run qualifying simulations here rather than race simulations, and just trying to get their eye in before Q2, which is when the action really starts.
Indeed it is, and we'll have to see whether anyone does opt for those medium tires in Q2, whether they'll want to start the race on the harder or one of the harder compound tires available, and that's probably something that we should be watching. Well, before we were kind of terming it our top 5, but now I almost feel, Jacob, that we've got a top 7. You know, you've got Sipos, Maverick, A2 UK, Mahavir, Iceman, Ruben, and now Seb's joining the fray. The 2 racing points are showing their pace. All of a sudden, FXI is looking so much closer than it did in those opening 2 rounds of the season.
Yeah, and around Austria, it's probably going to look even closer than pretty much anywhere else. With such a short lap time, the shortest lap time on the calendar, the gaps between drivers in terms of absolute time deltas are going to be smaller. It's also a relatively simple track, not that easy in some parts, but it is relatively simple. So if you practice it, you can really reach your reach a level of consistency at this track pretty easily. Or pretty quickly relative to other tracks, because there's only so many corners that you have to remember how to drive. So I'd expect to see smaller gaps throughout the field here than we've seen anywhere else so far, and they are already quite small in Canada, to be honest.
Yeah, it was very small in Canada. I can't remember, but in Q2, I think from 1st down to 13th was just over a second. And, I mean, you mentioned that Austria is not that easy, but let's face it, it is probably the easiest track on the calendar to get yourself familiar with.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair there, as it's not the easiest one, however, to avoid corner cutting warnings. Probably easier than Canada,
yes,
but not the easiest, as some of these drivers are finding out to their cost. A few of them have invalidated lap times so far. Looks like, as I say that, Kenners just goes and invalidates another lap time. He's already missed 1. He has managed to get a 1:05.2 on the board, but that is a lot further off the pace than we'd be expecting from the Racing Point. So maybe slight alarm bells starting to ring for Kenners down in P14 for the time being.
Yeah.
A couple of other drivers have also strapped on a fresh set of soft tyres. Kev GL has done an outlap and headed straight back into the pits on his, so evidently he's just...
105.2, that's going back into F1 2019
trying to heat cycle
territory.
through those for some reason.
Sorry, Jacob, I think you cut off for a second, so apologies for interrupting you there. I do want to go to the corner cutting idea. What do we think is the hardest track to corner cut at? Or the easiest track to not corner cut? Are you there, Jacob? I think Jacob may have died on us. So, hopefully, he'll be back soon. But until then, we will just take this by ourselves for now. I don't know how we'll survive without Jacob. To be honest, I don't actually think it's possible. Jacob, please come back and save me. However, Sipos and SMM Seb have both retired now. They're happy with their lap times. Maverick, A2, Mahavir may still go out just to try to improve on their times, or as we were talking about earlier, you know, have a think about practicing some long runs on these soft tires. Maybe see how far they can try to go, how quick they can go once those tires have put a few laps into them. Also, I see a comment in the chat, Monaco, which I'm presuming is in reference to my question, what is the hardest track to not corner cut at? No, what's the easiest track to not corner cut at? I think that's probably the way to put it. Monaco, yeah, I'd put Monaco right up there. I'm trying to think if there is another one, because Monaco is very difficult to corner cut, very easy to lose your front wing, but to corner cut is pretty difficult. I can't think of many other tracks, to be honest.
If you're looking for tracks which are difficult, or not difficult to not corner cut, I would suggest... Yes, hello, I'm back. Sorry, I seem to be having some internet issues, so hopefully that won't keep recurring, and hopefully I'll be able to join you for the remainder of the qualifying and the race. But yeah, Suzuka is one I'm going to volunteer. Pretty hard to corner cut around there, if, because nothing else, there is very, very little runoff anywhere, so it doesn't even tempt you to corner cut or track extend pretty much anywhere around that circuit. Degner 1, and then maybe the exit of Degner 2 are the only places where you could really be expecting to. As Connor Sheridan there, almost running all the way into the back of Mahavir, who was slowing down, ready for a push lap. So Connor might have a word or two to say about that.
Yeah, and I just have one thought. Was Mahavir actually on a lap? Is he actually just practicing his race stint? Because, I mean, it's a tricky one, that, because even if you are on a quick lap, you're not actually doing a quick lap per se.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he had backed out, I think he's doing qualifying laps all on the same set of tyres once more. The same strategy he employed last time out seemed to work fairly well for him by the end of qualifying, because he qualified pretty well. Or, well, he was pretty fast throughout qualifying. He didn't qualify quite as well as he could have done, shall we say. But yeah, I think he had backed out because he invalidated his previous lap as well, just as he invalidates this one by trying to... Ooh, wow. Running very wide through turn 8 as well, but hanging onto the car nicely. In P5 at the moment, but starting to struggle perhaps a bit on those 4-lap-old soft tyres, as he now does head into the pits.
Yeah, he does indeed. And I think that's most of the people pretty much done with their lap. Still got Elon Tusk out, Turix on a lap, so is Kev. 1 minute left of qualifying. Fastest lap so far is a 103.3. And earlier on in the show, Jacob, I asked, do you think anyone will get into the 103s? I want to change my question to, do you think anyone will get into the 102s?
I think no. Because I think that a lot of these drivers will be struggling to find any more pace, much more pace rather, over and above what they have already. I think that when you're driving at Austria, because it's a relatively easy track to nail, we'll be seeing the drivers right from the get-go being pretty close to their maximum. Not 100% there. So I'd expect maybe to get down to the 103.1 come the end of qualifying. But I would be pleasantly surprised to see anyone getting much lower than that.
Well, We'll have to see, because I think Sipos and Iceman, maybe they'll have some cheeky old slipstream tactics to go with. And sure, the slipstream strategy in qualifying doesn't give you as much time as you would at somewhere like Spa or Monza, but you can still gain a lot of time from it.
Yeah, as Q1 has now drawn to a close, just these drivers will be able to finish their final laps, and then everyone who is currently in the pits will need to retire their car. Elon Tusk out there about to complete his 7th lap on this set of soft tires. I think he might actually be doing a race stint, judging by his pace. So that's nice to see. I think that's what the drivers really should be doing. I think it's the more useful thing to be doing at this stage. As there are issues in Sector 3 there, Turix, and who's that alongside him? The Ferrari of Maverick.
It was very strange because Maverick slowed down to let Turix through, and then... Oh, sorry, Turix slowed down to let Maverick through, and then Maverick slowed down, and then Turix overtook him. So I'm not sure what was happening between the two of them. Maybe an old case of Perez and Grosjean, for anyone who's seen the incident between those two, which happened earlier on today at Mugello practice.
Yeah, as long as it's not Perez and Raikkonen, I think we'll be okay, as long as it's just a Perez-Grosjean style incident. But yes, so Elon Tusk still out there. He's still lapping somehow, despite having taken what ought to be the checkered flag. So I think we're going to go all the way down for the extra 3 minutes as well, because those who are sitting in the pits have not retired their cars either. And as long as they don't do that, the session will continue, which is an issue with the game. It shouldn't be like that, but it is like that nevertheless, as now all drivers have headed back into the pits. I think Turix was in the end the only driver to actually set flying laps on multiple sets of soft tyres, but he has used 3 sets of soft tyres to set flying laps on in Q1. He's managed P10, which would be great if it was Q2, but now he hasn't got many tyres left.
No, he doesn't have many tyres at all. So Jacob, it's time to play one of MilkyCereal's games, one of my games, and that is, shall we have a little guess, shall we have a little gander as to who we think is going to get knocked out in Q2?
Who's going to get knocked out in Q2? Okay, all right. That'll be an interesting one to think about. I expect to see...
We can do, like, you say one driver, then I say one driver, and we do that for 5.
Okay, you want me to go first, then?
You know what, why don't you go first? Yes.
Okay, I'll go Kev GL. Currently
Kev
sitting in
GL.
P15. Reserve driver currently in the McLaren, looking a fair way off the pace down there with a 106.2. Of course, we don't know the fuel loads, but I would suggest that he doesn't necessarily have, 2.5 whole seconds in him to be able to make up.
Okay, I'm going to go with Turix.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Based on the tyres, I assume? Or partially, at least, based on the tyre issue.
Yeah.
Connor Sheridan is my next one. The Irishman, the other Irishman, has been improving this season in the Alfa Romeo. He actually consistently got better every single race he's participated in, from DNF to 13th to 10th to 8th. However, I would still expect to see him with the quality of the field dropping out in Q2.
I'm going to go with Lowenker. And I know he's P9 at the moment, but Lowenker has been someone who's just been... He's always been off my radar. And I don't think that's going to change in Q2. But I would be pleasantly surprised if he was able to make it into Q3.
Yeah, Lowenker seems like the sort of driver, based on what little I've seen of him, based on his race in Monaco pretty much, where he actually made a contra strategy work really well for him, he might not be too unhappy to qualify P11 and start on maybe a hard set of tyres as well. And then who are we thinking of next? Now's when it starts to get really hard, because do we think Kenners does have more pace? Or do we think the Racing Point's actually struggling here? I'm going to say Kenners for P11.
I'm thinking the exact same thing as you. Kenners or Owen AK. And I think normally Kenners would have more pace, so I'm going to go with... I'm going to say Kenners will make it into Q3. I think Owen AK will drop.
Yeah, I mean, in usual circumstances, I wouldn't expect Kenners to go out in Q2, but he does seem to be a little bit off colour here in Austria based on the qualifying time so far. But, of course, once again, we do not know the fuel loads. So if you're going with Owen for your last one, then that would be all of them. In fact, no, we've already got 5, so we don't need Owen. So Owen can make it through. So congratulations, Owen, as we have now decided that you will enter Q3.
Yes, we have written the script. As I just took a quick look at the old race director, Turix is the only person who used more than one set of soft tyres. So
yes,
I don't know how much percent wear he has in each of those tires. I don't think he has another spare set of softs. So either he's got to put on mediums or he's got to hope he doesn't make it into Q3, because if that does happen, he's going to be in a very tricky situation when it comes down to race strategy.
Yeah, I mean, he snookered himself, and for no discernible reason, as far as I can tell. Like, I really can't think of a reason why you would do this. Maybe Turix has some sort of insight about this, but I honestly can't think of it myself. Kevin Loftus in chat, I assume that's Kev GL, and you're welcome for the great words. Hopefully, they will light a fire in your belly and give you that extra tenth you'll need to get through to Q3. Go out there and prove us wrong, Kev, as everyone does look like they are leaving the pits here in Q2, and this is when the action is about to start, and leading us out there is Turix on a used set of soft tires.
Yeah, well, I would be very surprised if he managed to find a fresh set of soft tires somewhere, but we'll see what he can do on these. Obviously, it's a shame that we can't see how old these soft tires actually are. I think that'd be a nice little addition that F1 or Codemasters could add. So you see for reals how worn these are. Actually, instead of saying how many laps, if it said the percentage, the average percentage wear of all four tires, that would be very cool. If anyone from Codemasters is listening, you know what to bring out for F1 2021.
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to see everyone's percentages on their tires? They're even trying to do that for us in real life with those new Amazon graphics that they're trying to bring to the broadcast in real life.
Don't get me started on those Amazon graphics.
I'm glad to hear you feel the same way as I do. But nevertheless, if they're bringing them in real life, there's no reason we can't see the actual, genuine, bona fide percentages in the game as well. As Turix does begin the first flying lap of Q2, very tentative through turn 1 there with a little bit of a moment of opposite lock, as he took just a little bit too much of the inside curb, had to brake a little bit more than he would have liked, braking pretty late actually into the hairpin, getting it slowed down just about. Kick of oversteer on the exit through the traction zone over to the right-hand side of the track, which is always the tell that your tires weren't quite living with the power you were putting down. Down into turn 4, it's always falling away from you so hard not to lock up, and Turix fails that particular test as he locks his inside front tire. Now, this is turn 6. Doesn't make the apex there, but actually pretty smooth in general. Turn 7, once again, not making the apex, leaving a fair amount on the table there, I would suggest, is the German driver. Through turn 8, no problems there, as it is pretty much easy flat. Turn 9, now this is the way you have all the bravery required for these final 2 corners. Both of those were nice, if a little bit pedestrian for Turix. Up towards the line, where will it be? It's a 104.983. That will not be good enough, I would suggest, to get him into Q3.
No, I do not think so either. Mahavir has just started his run. Well, at the moment, Lowenka, not a quick lap. He's actually on medium tyres, so I reckon he's going to pull out a set of soft tyres at some point as Iceman does what he does best, which is put in a quick lap, a 103.4. Mahavir, though, he makes the apex. Iceman's done. He says, that's enough. 103, but good luck, you guys knocking me out the top 10. Sipples only goes a few hundred slower as Mahavir makes his way down into turn 4. He carries so much speed. Somehow gets it slowed down enough for the corner as he pulls the car over to the right into turn 6 and 7. And in my opinion, the most difficult corners on the circuit. It's so weird trying to find the grip as... Yep, that's Mahavir running wide. Has he invalidated the lap time? Indeed, yes, he has.
Yeah, unfortunate one there for Mahavir, invalidating his second lap in a row in the Ferrari. That's going to be frustrating at the beginning of Q2 here. He's got to keep his head cool, though. He's got plenty of time to set a fast lap and to strap on, hopefully, a fresh set of tyres. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Lord Chegwin, whose name is going to catch me out, has just started his flying lap in the Racing Point. He's got a nice tow up ahead from the Renault of Turix, which he won't be complaining about at all until he gets to the apex here, where the dirty air might be affecting him just a little bit, but actually very, very smooth and tidy through there for Lord Chegwin. Down the second DRS straight now towards turn 4, braking a little bit early and almost running into the back of Turix, who does not have the pace of the Racing Point behind and might well become a roadblock that Lord Chegwin's going to have to try and deal with. You can see him washing wide, a lot of understeer through turn 6 into turn 7. A bit nicer, but once again, still understeering a little bit. Not able to take as much speed as he would like because he's basically being impeded by Churix at this point. I think the Renault driver's pushing, so I'm not sure that Churix can do much else unless he just had to completely abort his lap and get out of the way. And Lord Chegwin through the final corner takes way too much of the inside curve, and that will be an invalidation.
Lord Chegwin was purple all the way through, and you can't blame Churix at all for that. He was on a fast lap, and that's just Lord Chegwin not leaving enough space between himself and... We can get this going. Right. The stream should hopefully be up now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if that's working.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it is. Are we back?
It is, okay. Hopefully simple fix then if we are back. Still the same link and everything, yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing stuff, so yeah, I think we are back.
I think we're back.
Excellent. Aaron Fox confirming that we are back. So, apologies for that one, everybody. We had an issue with OBS, but we are back now. So, just to run you down on what happened exactly in that last qualifying session, this is going to be a memory test, but let's see if I can do it. Kenners was P11. He'll be starting P11 on the grid. Lernkert starting from P12. Connor Sheridan, P13. Churix will be starting 14th, and Kev GL will be starting from the back of the grid in P15, the stand-in the McLaren.
So, it's time to play our favourite game again, Jacob. Top 3.
Top 3, okay. Right, so... okay, so it's going to be the 2 Williams and Seb, I'm going to say.
I want order. I want the order.
You want the order?
Yeah,
okay.
It's not that easy. I'm not making that easy for you, Jacob.
The Williams have not shown their hand yet, and I think they've got more in the tank because they've just been retiring from each session as soon as they set a decent lap time. Seb did show, though, a 1:03.1, and that's going to be hard to beat no matter how much time they've got left in the tank. I'm going to say Sipos, Seb, Iceman as my top 3 in that order.
Okay, I'm going to be... Call me an opportunist. I'm going to say Sipos, Iceman. I don't know if I want to say Mahavir or Ruben. I feel like I'm massively underrating Seb here, but I want to go with a ballsy call. So I'm going to go and say Mahavir Raghunathan to take a P3.
It's what the people want. But yeah, I don't know how you can leave out Seb, though, with a 1:03.1 in Q2 on a set of tyres which had already done 1 flying lap as well. That's a very fast lap time.
I think Sipos is definitely going to be in the top 3, but I think one of Iceman or Seb won't make it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we're more like, even though Iceman has been narrowly ahead of Sipos in both sessions so far, I do think that Sipos is slightly the better qualifier of the 2 so far that we've seen. So I think that Sipos might just edge it here when it gets to the very end, as he is, of course, out there setting a lap at the moment, although he's actually invalidated his first attempt, and the same is true of Seb. Iceman out there not invalidating those. He is going to be coming around setting the first actual representative lap time of the session, as long as he can make it through turn 10, and he does. And up towards the line then, the Macedonian with a 1:03.1. It's not quite as fast as Seb's Q2 time, but it's so nearly.
Now Ruben, 1:03.7. Well, Ruben's a little bit off the pace at the moment, I guess. Good thing I didn't say Ruben and I said Mahavir. Speaking of Mahavir, what's he up to? The Ferrari driver making his way into the final couple of corners now.
Yeah, as he's already invalidated this particular lap, so he's just slowing down, starting again, ERS all the way to the top of the battery charge, and he will start the lap here in the Ferrari, so why don't we stick on board with him? We've got plenty of time throughout the remainder of this session. Through turn 1 we go, neat and tidy, using exactly the right amount of curb on the exit, not to spin up the rear tyres, and not to pick up an invalidation either, but with managing to keep the maximum apex speed of that corner, using all the track on the left-hand side to brake into turn 3, the hairpin, and very smooth on the traction as well. Getting a nice draft, or would be from Elon Tusk if he was bothering to use it, but he is not. He's getting a little bit less of a slipstream from Maverick up ahead, but just a little bit from his teammate, who now duly gets out of the way as Mahavir makes it through turn 4 with no quarrels or qualms whatsoever. Through turn 6 now, again, not quite meeting the apex, and maybe not taking quite as much speed as he would otherwise be able to through their similar story. Through turn 7 as well, that seems to be where Mahavir has been struggling most in this qualifying session so far. Wow, major moment through turn 9, and somehow doesn't pick up an invalidation, even though he ran quite wide. Through turn 10 and up towards the line, it's only good enough for P4 with a 1:03.5. That is the fastest lap time we've seen from him so far this qualifying.
I tell you what, going into that penultimate corner, Mahavir gave it everything as, oh, my day just gets better and better. I've got an ego dumper and a crash report on F1 2020.
Oh, okay. Well, this will be a radio broadcast for me for the time being until you can get back into the session. So, yeah, I'll try and keep you guys posted on what exactly is going on. Iceman still sitting at the top with a 1:03.1. Sipos, having had to go again on the same set of tyres after invalidating his first lap, has managed a 1:03.284. That is a 10th down on his teammate. Maverick is in third in the Ferrari, a further 2/10 down from where Sipos is. That's 3.5 away from the current provisional pole time of Iceman. Mahavir just behind him, A2 UK with a 1:03.6. There or thereabouts in P5, with Ruben still not improving on that 1:03.7 we saw earlier in P6. Owen AK is sitting last of those who have set a time at the moment in P7 with a 1:04.2. Elon Tusk, the only driver out there setting a lap at the moment. Iceman also on an outlap to have his second go in the Williams. As you are now rejoining the session, I am very glad to see Elon Tusk is pushing for the time being. I'm just going to keep an eye on what his first sector time is here. And that's a 10th down on the invalidated lap he's already managed in this session thus far.
Right, I am jumping in now to join in the old spectating fun. So, how's Seb doing at the moment?
Seb yet to set a lap time. He invalidated his very first attempt and headed straight back into the pits, where he has remained until this very moment in time. Same could be said for Lord Chegwin, who I'm still haven't managed to mess that name up quite yet, despite his best efforts. Elon Tusk, by the way, has managed actually a 1:03.9 earlier in the session. I thought he was on an outlap. I think he was actually on a push lap before, and he is heading back into the pits now, is the Alfa Romeo driver. So he's currently sitting in P7 for the time being. Iceman is out there pushing, and Ruben is on an outlap. They're the only two drivers out there on track at the moment. Iceman, half a 10th down through Sector 1, but purple in Sector 2, and he brings it down to only 300ths down on his best lap time so far. Pushing hard up towards turn 9 now he goes, using plenty of the track on the left-hand side, running really nicely over the exit curb as well, but just too much through the final corner. And it's what would have been for Iceman. It would have been the first 1:03.0, but it was invalidated.
What could have been for Iceman? Ruben, he's just on his outlap at the moment, and we'll see what he can pull out. He'll be the first man to start a lap in a few moments' time. Lord Chegwin is making his way out of pits to start his outlap as well. Right, let's see what Ruben can do. Sets himself up nicely to start this lap here at Austria. We rode on board with Ruben for our hot lap video. Well, let's see if he can pull out anything like he did in that lap. He carries so much speed through turn 1, bunny hopping over the curb on the apex, and now DRS open on the straight up through the king of the 2 and into 3, braking so late down to first gear, just away from the curb as you should. Back on the power nicely, no issues at all with the rear end, and now on the run down in towards the turn 4. Get all the way up on the curb, 80 meters, drops it down into second, and the short shifts on exit. But there's the back end loss that we were talking about.
Yeah, and he short shifted a lot through the exit of turn 3 as well, and I think that caused a little bit of just lag in terms of his, not in terms of internet lag, just in terms of being a little bit slow on the exit of that corner. And he looked like he was trying to do a similar thing to try and limit the wheel spin through the exit of turn 4, but he wasn't able to do so, evidently. Mahavir is pushing out there in the Ferrari. He is still on the same set of tyres he started this qualifying session on, so that will be limiting him just a little bit here as he heads into the final sector of the lap. Committed through turn 9, committed through turn 10 as well. Up towards the line he goes. Will it be an improvement? Yes, it will. Ahead of his teammate and up in a P3, but not quite. Challenging the Williams with a 1:03.392.
It was close. He needs to find another 10th if he wants to jump ahead of Sipos. Seb still yet to do a lap. He's in the pits. However, Lord Chegwin, one of the two drivers yet to complete a lap, is on his hot lap right now. Let's see if he can get deep into those 103s. To be honest, considering Lord Chegwin's pace last time out at Canada, he wants to be right up there battling the likes of A2, Ruben and Maverick for that P4 spot.
Yeah, at the very least, I would say a podium last time out for Lord Chogan. He'll want to be continuing that trend, and the best way to do that is to get a good qualifying position, of course. Up towards the line he comes now, and it's P4, just ahead of Maverick. So it's ever so slightly exceeding your expectations, perhaps there, with a 1:03.449. Puts him behind Mahavir Raghunathan, but separates the Ferraris from one another. Ruben was able to improve on that lap, but not by too much. Puts himself ahead of A2 UK and up into P6. But he just doesn't have quite as much pace as we might have been expecting from the Red Bull driver around here.
Oh, look at Sepos. He's 600ths up at the moment. If he can find another 500ths or so, he might be able to jump ahead of Iceman into the final couple of corners. Throws it into turn 9, through turn 10, using up all of the track on the exit. Is it going to be enough? It's a 1:03.10. Sipos. It takes the P1 and provisional pole from his teammate Iceman.
And just behind him on track, it's Iceman starting his final flying lap of the session as well. Is there any response here from the Macedonian driver? Is there any response from Mahavir Raghunathan, who is only about 200ths of a second off of his personal best time through Sector 1? He'll be pushing through Sector 2 as well. Lord Chegwin's going for another run, but he's only just winding up for that one. A2 UK out there pushing. He's improving by not very much, though, for the time being. Mahavir Raghunathan still improving. He has now gone purple through Sector 2 in the Ferrari, already about a 10th up on his previous best time. He needs to really nail this final sector just to find that little bit of extra time. A couple more tenths is all he needs. Up towards the line he comes, and he does improve, but it's only by a modicum here. What can Iceman do now?
He's 1-0. Oh, sorry, that's that Sipos that I was looking at, who was Iceman's invalidated his lap time. I don't know if Sipos has anything more in the tag. Oh my god, it's a 1:02.895. Sipos breaks into the 1:02s and he takes provisional pole.
That is an astonishing lap time from Sipos. Where on earth has that come from? Seb is out there pushing an Iceman. He's invalidated through turn 1. Of all the places to invalidate your final attempt, it through turn 1. Seb's invalidated somewhere as well. So after me predicting he was going to be a second on the grid, he's going to be 10th. Just through invalidations alone. He waited in the pit so long and gave himself only one opportunity to set a faster lap time, and he has messed it up, and he will be ruining that decision now. Who is out there pushing? Mahavir probably pushing out there in the Ferrari. No, he has
on a lap.
Out. Looks like he's out of fuel. Owen on a lap in the AlphaTauri.
Owen is, well, he's 3/10 down on Elon Tusk, and he has a little bit of a lockup. He runs completely wide through turn 6. He's 300ths down. I don't think he'll be able to find the time in this final sector. It's all going to be over for Owen. Ruben crosses the line. He's not going to be able to improve into the final couple of corners. There comes Owen AK. Let's see what he's going to be able to pull out. He runs a tad wide, but it's not going to be enough to invalidate across the line. Owen AK, a 1:04.3. That is not enough for the Red Bull. What about Seb? No, his time was invalidated. So that is it. That's the final standings, Jacob, going into the race.
Well, oh wow, okay, Seb has binned it through turn 7 as he's just heading back into the pits, having invalidated his lap time. He will just retire from the session. But I'll tell you what, if I was right about the 5 going out in Q2, I believe you might have got the top 3 spot on, unless I'm very much mistaken.
I think I did. Did I? No, I said it was those 3.
Yeah, I think you said Sipos as well.
First. Yeah, I think I said Sipos, Iceman, Mahavir.
You definitely said Sipos first. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said Iceman second, Mahavir third. So congratulations on that one. Congratulations to Mahavir Raghunathan for setting his best qualifying lap so far this season and his best qualifying position. Lord Chegwin getting it sorted out and all together up for P4 after a couple of shakier moments in Q2. Maverick has been solidly up there on pace, but only good enough for P5. Ruben a little bit off where he would like to be, certainly 3/4 of a second away from the pole time in P6. A2 UK will be through in P7 as well. We're setting yet another 1:03.7, which I think he's done almost every session so far in quali.
Sipos, though, actually got into the 102s. We were wondering if someone would get in. Somehow, Sipos managed it. And he didn't just get into the 102s. He did that on his second lap on those soft tyres as well. So, he must have been running a bit low on the ERS come the end of the lap. But either way, an absolutely fantastic lap from the Williams driver. And it is yet another Williams 1-2 in Premier X.
Yeah, and it's just a thing with Sipos where he just seems to be able to find that extra gear in qualifying that Iceman doesn't seem to have. And now Sipos needs to make it pay in the race. He's won one race, his very first race in the series he won. But since then, it's been a slew of second positions, 3 of them in a row for the Hungarian driver, always finishing the bridesmaid, the Iceman's bride. And and that's despite the fact that he's been getting consistent pole positions. So Sipos needs to get a good start off the line here today, needs to lead comfortably away from the line from Iceman, just to get his confidence there, if nothing else, and to make sure that he can try and challenge for the win, and Iceman, who is dominating at the moment.
So, 36 laps here at Austria, and there it is, the old predicted pit stop strategy. We're expecting the pit stops between lap 14 to lap 16 for the medium tyres to go to the end of the race. Jacob, we're seeing Lowencut starting on the hards, Kev starting on the mediums, everyone else on the soft tyres. Do you think we're going to be seeing any discrepancy in strategies between those soft tyre runners?
I would imagine that some will try and go onto hards for an undercut, whereas others will go onto mediums. But I don't think we'll see that much discrepancy. I think it'll be pretty agreed upon which will be the best strategy around here, unless we get a virtual safety car or a safety car, in which case it pretty much all goes out the window. I'd like to point out that while you got the top 3 in Q3, right, and I got the bottom 5 in Q2, right, I said that Lowenkurt was the kind of driver to start a race on hards and go for the contra strategy. And I said hards as well. I didn't say mediums, I said hards. And Lowenkurt, the only driver in the field on the hard tyres, evidently me and Lowenkurt go way back. So yeah, no, I'm just bragging a little bit about that.
Jacob,
hello.
Like, I think the viewers are starting to catch on to the fact that we scripted the entire race as Haas moment.
Yeah, I don't know what's... Oh, Ruben disqualified.
Is that
That's
Seb?
not good.
Oh, Seb's
Yeah, Seb.
pulling a Sebastian Vettel by, like, moving the signs at the end of the race. But this way, he's just driving to the front of the formation lap to show, you know, I should be leading the race.
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't invalidated his lap times, he could well have been. Although a 1:02.8 from Sipos would have been very, very hard to beat indeed.
It's a tall order.
It is a very tall order, but Seb, yeah, maybe just being a little bit impetuous there, showing what he reckons the order should be, rather than what it actually is.
Round 8 of the championship then, here at Austria. We wait for the final driver to line up. That is A2 UK in the McLaren. One-stop strategy is what is expected. 5 red lights here at the Red Bull Ring. It's lights out. We wait for the delay. And when will we be going? We see the Alpha getting a good start and lags right back. But it's a really good start from Lord Chegway up into P3 straight away as one of the McLarens going down the inside. Both Ferraris running wider through turn 1. And that is Maverick, who has jumped his teammate Mahavir Raghunathan. And now he's going to have a look at A2 UK on the run into turn 3. A2 goes defensive. Round the outside looks Maverick. Will he be able to find the traction? As in the background, Elon Tusk going round the outside of Mahavir Raghunathan. But take a look at Lord Chegwin as well, as here comes Maverick once again round the outside into turn 4. There's a lockup up ahead, and that's going to be Iceman running wide. Lord Chegwin's going to get really close, but it's still the McLaren and Ferrari side by side into turn 6, and Maverick has finally got the job done.
Yeah, and going on behind, there's absolute chaos right now. Kenners is the real winner. He just overtook about 5 people through turn 4 because Mahavir was losing places hand over fist on the back straight and sent a real dive bomb up the inside of Elon Tusk, who's lost out significantly as a result of it. And it slowed a lot of drivers up because Mahavir's line was so weird that on the apex of the corner, he was really slow. And Kenners pretty much pulled a switchback on all 5 of the drivers that were ahead of him there. And he is now up into P6. Seb has managed to make it work on the opening lap as well, although Mahavir taking the position back from him for the time being. They'll be battling up. Oh no, Seb running out of road there. Mahavir showing him the grass in the Ferrari, firm driving
from the Ferrari driver. And oh no, he's completely messed up his braking spot. So has Seb, who goes into the back of Kenners. Kenners managing to avoid Mahavir, who was coming in like a torpedo there. Seb not so lucky, and he'll pick up front wing damage. Ruben all over the back of Mahavir, who looks very erratic in the opening laps of this race so far.
Action all across the field. The top of 5, 6 have seemingly got away. Okay, it's down the inside. Looks Ruben around the outside. Goes Mahavir for P7. Ruben's going to have the inside, but he's not going to be able to get his nose in. Mahavir holds on to P7 for now, but Ruben, he's not done yet. He's all over the back of the Ferrari. He looks to the left. He looks to the right. Goes down the inside into the penultimate corner, but Mahavir holds it round the outside, and he holds on to P7. Excellent racing here in the battle for the midfield.
Yeah, great stuff from Mahavir there to be able to go around the outside. Couple of questionable moves earlier in the race, couple of real dive bombs, but now up in P4, Maverick, his teammate, who's had a much cleaner start off the line, looking to try and send it up the inside of Lord Chegwin into turn 3. Gets it done. Can Chegwin run around the outside? No, he cannot. And that's the Ferrari driver up into P3 now, and up 2 positions from where he started. Ruben and Mahavir battling further back as well. Ruben pushed off track there. Seb trying to take advantage. He gets 1. Can he get 2 in the house? Mahavir has been very hard to pass so far this race ever since lap 1. And once again, getting it just right on the brakes, forcing Seb to stick his nose in behind for the time being. Mahavir hanging on to P7 by the skin of his teeth as Ruben slithers back up the inside of Elon Tusk.
And we've got our first time penalty of the race as well, and it goes the way of Seb, who's currently down in P8, right on the back of Mahavir. But this battle is absolutely incredible. What a start to the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, incredible stuff. And most of it clean as well. A couple of moments where maybe it would raise a few eyebrows. Seb, of course, has that front wing damage. Connor Sheridan's had some issue further down the order. He's had to come into the pits earlier than he would like and onto a set of stop tyres as well. So he is going to have to stop once more. So unless there's a safety car here today, I think Connor Sheridan's race is pretty much run. Although, of course, it could well be that many other drivers knock off their front wings before the end of this one, as Seb almost goes into the back of Mahavir into turn 3 there, where he's already been into the back of Kenners earlier this race. Kenners, who was struggling in pace in qualifying, has been actually pretty comfortable in P6 ever since he managed to take 5 drivers in one corner.
Yeah, and I'm just taking a look at Kenners because he's getting hunted down now by Mahavir, and I'm just wondering if that Force India is going to have the pace to keep Mahavir behind. Remember, Kenners qualified all the way down in P11 or P12, so in raw pace alone, you'd expect him to be slower than the guys right behind him. But don't forget Lowenker and Kev, because those guys, they're on the harder compound of tires, and they're going to be absolutely loving seeing these guys up ahead battling as ferociously as they are.
Yeah, but the start has been rough for Lowenker and Kev. They have lost a lot of time to the guys ahead. A big gap forming between them and the rest of the field. And
Maverick is having a look down the inside of Iceman. There's almost contact between the two of them. Maverick down the inside. Is he going to be able to find the traction? I think he is. He gets the DRS as well, but he's going to have to slot in behind Iceman for now. Can he have a look down the inside into turn 4? No, he cannot. And Lord Chegwin getting very close as well. 3-way battle for second, really starting to heat up.
All 3-way battle for P6 as well, as Mahavir was able to pass Kenners into turn 3. Seb sticking his nose up the inside. Front wing damage be damned, says the Haas driver, as he tries to make the move into turn 4, but he can't quite do it. Kenners holding on to that one for the time being, but losing a lot of time understeering through turn 7, and Seb trying to overtake through turn 8. That's almost impossible, and he has to back out of it entirely. I'm not sure if Ruben went into the back of him there or not, but very impressive driving if he didn't. Looks like he's got all of his front wing, but he has compromised his speed as now Elon Tusk is up the inside. I think that was Seb diving into the pits very late in the Haas indeed, but just about making it in there without speed. Oh no, I was about to say without speeding in the pit lane. Never mind, he has sped in the pit lane, and actually he's retired from the session, so I think he's just thrown in the towel in rage, if nothing else. Maverick and Iceman are battling up at the top, and Lord Chegwin's getting involved as well, trying to stick it up the inside, but Iceman will not lose 2 positions in one corner, but he will lose the one to Maverick, who is showing all kinds of pace in the Ferrari today.
Yeah, Maverick up to P2. Good stuff. Seb has retired from the session. Apologies for more stream lag. I thought that was all fixed. Hopefully it should be now all sorted again. Mahavir jumping ahead of Kenners once again as well. So sorry that we did miss the final couple of battles that happened over the last 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, but Sipos, refocusing ourselves on the lead, Sipos is dominating so far this race. Of course, the fact that Maverick has been troubling Iceman behind is definitely helping the Hungarian driver, as Maverick actually picks up a 3-second time penalty, which will be even more music to the ears of Sipos. But Iceman just doesn't seem to be able to challenge his teammate once it comes to the race either, and that's not something we've seen so much of so far. Of course, Sipos did look like he had a significant amount of pace over his teammate come the end of qualifying, but to bring this level of performance advantage in the race as well is very impressive.
But let's not forget, in all of the previous races, Sipos has looked quicker than Iceman. There's just always been some kind of contact, some kind of issue that's seen him drop down the field and have to pull off some kind of miracle drive to really just a case of damage limitation. So Sipos finally getting a chance to really show his pace here at Austria.
Yeah, Lernkert picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. That's not going to help the contra-strategist, who probably will rely on drivers being in close proximity to other drivers come the end of the race, so he'll want to pick up as few penalties as he possibly can. Lord Chegwin definitely keeping pace with Maverick and Iceman so far in this race as well, so it's definitely not nailed on who our 3 podium drivers are going to be today. But Sipos really does look a class above so far, and A2 UK not quite able to mix it with the big guns here. 3 seconds between himself and Lord Chegwin in 4th, but he's in a bit of a world of his own with Mahavir 4.5 seconds behind him, as well as Ruben heads into the pits, and this might actually be a planned pit stop for the Red Bull driver. Doesn't look like any front wing change, and yeah, he'll just go straight onto a set as that of medium tyres in the Red Bull. I don't know if he plans on getting those to the end or not, but that would be one hell of a stint.
Surely got to be a 2-stop strategy for Ruben. Let's see if this undercut can really work out for him. As Iceman closing in onto Maverick, just able to sit behind Maverick and just farm up that ERS, farm up some fuel. When will he pull the trigger and look to reclaim P2?
Indeed, yeah, no, it definitely looks like while Maverick was able to actually get past him, he's definitely, the difference in pace between those two is not very big, as Kev has had a moment on the exit of turn 3, really struggling with those overheated rear tyres now in the McLaren to get back going again, but I think he is going to be okay. Lord Chegwin picking up a 3-second time penalty. Neither Williams has a time penalty just yet, but Maverick and Chegwin have both picked them up, so at least that's the bit of solace here for Iceman, as Mahavir Raghunathan also picking up a 3-second time penalty, currently sitting down in P6, but closing in ever so slightly on the back of A2 UK up ahead.
Iceman just 4/10 down on Maverick. And we're seeing Elon Tusker closing in onto Kenneth. Elon's going to have a little look for the inside. Is he late enough on the brakes? Well, makes a little bit of contact with the right rear of Kenneth. And Elon will have to hold on to P8 for now.
Yeah, Iceman still trying to battle with Maverick as well, looking for around the outside of turn 4 there, but he just locked up and wasn't able to make it work. Iceman has been doing something I've never seen anyone do, which is consistently locking up into turn 6. Which is, I think, genuinely hard to do, but every time I go on board with him through there, I hear the tyres squealing. I don't know quite what's going on with his driving style through that particular corner, but it's evidently fast enough, as he's currently sitting up in P3 and actually pulling the trigger, diving into the pits, giving Maverick something to think about up ahead. But Sipos with a 4.2 second gap down to the Ferrari, he's probably not going to be too worried about whatever Iceman's throwing at him undercut-wise right now.
No, I don't think he is, and that undercut cannot be the right decision. We're expecting people to pit out around about lap 14 for the medium tyres. As Iceman, he waxed on a set of hard tyres. This is going to be very interesting come the end of the race.
It looks like we're still having a few lag issues on the stream, unless I'm very much mistaken. So I don't know if there's anything you can do bitrate wise or anything like that to sort that out. But hopefully we can get that fixed for you guys. Hopefully it'll at least smooth itself out soon.
Or is that from what Sam posted before?
No, I'm saying that now on the stream itself. So hopefully we can fix that.
It might get a little bit blurry now, but I have to manage between blurriness and stuttering.
Yeah, I think we take blurriness over stuttering any day, so hopefully it won't be too compromising for you guys, and we'll be able to bring you the rest of the race no trouble. Elon Tusk, currently sitting down in P7, he is one of only 2 drivers to be within DRS range of anyone else, and as soon as I say that about him, he loses it entirely. through turn 9. His car's ghosting. There's a car just behind him as well. I don't know what happened. Owen actually just headed into the pits. Didn't want anything to do with the Alfa Romeo that was veering all over the road up ahead as Mahavir picks up yet another 3-second time penalty. Those have been coming pretty thick and fast for everyone through this race, even though I said that they might not come as thick and as fast as they did in Canada. Iceman currently pent up behind Churix in P9, having come into the pits, trying to pull off the undercut. Needs to make it past the German in the Renault, who moves over just before the braking zone. And Iceman having to back out of it, but still making the move. That is incredible driving from the Macedonian to be able to make that recovery work. Mahavir battling really hard with Kenners. These guys have been tooth and nail with one another throughout this race so far. And Kenners once again being forced a little bit wide. Some boisterous driving from Mahavir Raghunathan today.
Yeah, but Mahavir now in his second race in FXR. Now that he hasn't lost his front wing, he hasn't been involved in any significant incidents. He's really showing his racecraft, having a great battle with Kenners as A2 UK dives into the pit. So we're seeing pit stops that much earlier than we were initially expecting, Jacob.
Yeah, it is interesting to see. I imagine a lot of these guys are going on the hard tires to the end. What's happening with Kenners? He's trying to go around the outside of turn 1. Excuse me. Kenners, how are you thinking about making that work? Nevertheless, he has set himself up nicely for turn 2. He used a bit more of the road than was actually there on the exit of turn 1, and that might have helped him up towards turn 3. They go now in the heavy braking zone here, and Kenners has got the move done. He'll move himself back up ahead of Mahavir, but I don't think that's the last we've seen of this particular battle.
So, Kenners up into P4. It's a racing point at 3-4 at the moment, but let's take a look further down the order because Ruben and A2 UK on fresh tires are closing in onto the second Red Bull of Lowenkert.
Yeah, Lowenkert, of course, on those 11-lap-old hard tires. This would usually be about when the race is coming to him, but because everyone's coming to the pits quite early, they're actually much fresher tires than him, so they should be really queuing up behind him, and they are starting to do so. Ruben there, he just picked up a 3-second time penalty after coming onto those medium tires surprisingly early, as the 3 in the lead of the race all come into the pit. Sipos will resume into P1. Will he? Just about. It's going to be close, actually, between himself and Kenners, but yet he'll just about be ahead of him on the exit. Kenners will be able to drag him up towards turn 2, but I think Sipos is going to hang on. Meanwhile, Maverick and Lord Chegwin, they are filtering out just around Churix in P5 and P7, respectively.
Yeah, and both A2 UK and Ruben get past Lowenkert into turn 1. Lowenkert getting a little bit sideways on the exit. We just caught a glimpse of that as A2 going for a look on Ruben into turn 3. Sipos picks up a 3-second time penalty. A2 gets onto the grass, but thankfully he keeps it on the circuit and he doesn't see himself facing the wrong way.
Yeah, no, good stuff from him to be able to recover that one. Sipos with that 3-second time penalty, ever such a slight chink in the armor, but Iceman's gap to his teammate has come down with that 2-lap undercut he pulled. It came down by about half a second. So I think Sipos is absolutely fine up there in the lead. If his race pace continues as it has been at the beginning in the opening stint of this race, I don't think he needs to worry about that 3-second time penalty whatsoever. Only if he starts to stack them up should there be cause for concern for the Hungarian, who is currently looking imperious out there at the front. Mahavir Raghunathan, the only driver, along with Churix, I should say as well, who started on the soft tyres, who are still out there. Lowenkert, of course, started on the hards and is still out there.
Here comes Churix. Lord Chegwin has just overtaken him, but Churix now looks for the return, a pass up into turn 3, but Lord Chegwin's going to get the cutback, and he's going to get the better drive as well. Churix picks up a 3-second time penalty. Lord Chegwin has DRS, and he should be able to pull off into the sunset now.
Iceman really close to the back of Mahavir now on those fresh hard tyres compared to the very old soft tyres of Mahavir Raghunathan in that Ferrari. Mahavir running really, really wide through turn 6. That'll open the door for turn 7.
Oh, Iceman!
No! Iceman into the wall as he kept it, just about keeps it out. In fact, actually into the gravel trap, though. Not sure if he picked up any front wing damage. It all looks okay. And that is a miracle that it all looks okay, but he's all the way down in P8 now.
Oh no, Iceman, I don't think there was any contact with Mahavir. I think he
There wasn't.
I think he just got a bit too aggressive on the throttle coming through turn 7, and he's only got himself to blame for that one. Iceman down to P7 now, and Mahavir has just pitted. So ladies and gentlemen, I think the championship might be a little bit close after this race.
Yeah, this is exactly what Sipos needed to happen. He needs Iceman to DNF pretty much to get that whole 46 points. In fact, it will be 48, and if he can get fastest lap, 49.
However, hold that thought, because here comes A2. He goes down the inside of Turek, and he gets the job done as well. Ruben will be looking at that Renault now as well.
Yeah, Ruben will be lining up to pass the German, currently sitting in P5. The only driver who started on the softs to still be out there after Mahavir came into the pits last time round and actually fell all the way down to P12. I'm not sure if he changed his wing or if it's just because he came into the pits later than everyone else, but he's really lost out in this particular phase of the race. Lord Chegwin not able to keep with Maverick, actually, interestingly, as well.
He almost runs into the back of Turek, who dives into the pits. Great reaction from Ruben not to run into the back of the Renault.
Yeah, but Ruben, being on those medium tyres, definitely on a two-stop strategy here, unless something dramatic happens for the remainder of his race as he almost loses it through turn 1. He's not got enough pace. He's not pulled off enough of an undercut for this two-stop strategy to work, so I think he's going to be sweating just a little bit in that cockpit now as Iceman is closing back in on him. And because Iceman had been so much on a higher level of pace than so much of the field,
Elon's just
as
gone
Elon
down
and Owen
the
are actually going
inside
side by side as well.
Owen, and he's going to pick up the move as well, but Owen gets the cut back, will have a DRS, could look for the move down in towards turn 4, but he's going to be a little bit too far back, and Elon will be able to hold on to P9.
Yeah, to return to my point about Ruben and Iceman, even though he could he almost lost the race entirely there.
Yeah.
He's down in P6 only. That's not that bad for the Williams driver. A podium is still on the cards here for him.
Yeah, very much so on the cards. I mean, only a further 5 seconds up the road or so is Lord Chegwin. So, it's possible. Kenneth picks up a 3-second time penalty. Iceman, hopefully he hasn't worn out those hards too much with that spin and he's got the temperature down. But slowly but surely will be the method for Iceman here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep plugging away at the gap, getting as much as you can. At some point, Ruben's going to have to head into the pits again. That's not patient driving from Iceman, who tries to scare Ruben off the road. The South African having none of it, holding his line around the outside of turn 3, avoiding the nose of the Williams, which was getting alarmingly close to his rear right tyre. And yeah, Iceman, he's impatient. Look at him. He's really trying to put the scares on Ruben here at the moment, getting very close to him through turn 4. Can he follow it? Once again, locking up into turn 6. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I need to ride on board with Iceman for one lap to see that, because I've missed it every time, because I've always been on the scenic view. So, I'm just trying to think how everything's going to be coming together in terms of strategy. We know Ruben has to do another stop. Lowenkert still has to stop for his mediums. Maybe he can go for softs until the end. We'll have to wait and see on that note. But I think everyone else will probably be trying to get to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that one. Even the likes of Kenneth and Mahavir should be trying to get to the end at this stage, I believe. ONAK, 3-second time penalty, currently sitting down in P10. Considering he's P5 in the championship, this is a slightly disappointing race thus far. A disappointing day in general for the AlphaTauri. Not really had the pace of anything other than about P9, P10 at best so far today. Look at Sipos out in the lead, though. 9.2 seconds to Maverick behind, and Maverick is no slouch. He's dropping the rest of the field. He's dropped Lord Chegwin down to 3 seconds. Lord Chegwin's a further 3 seconds ahead of A2 UK, and while Ruben is closing in on A2 UK, he's going to have to pit again. So Sipos is just in a world of his own today.
Yeah, and I think this also means something for Iceman. He needs to get the move done really quickly on Ruben, because if he takes like another 2 laps, Ruben's going to be getting DRS from A2, and then it's going to be very difficult for Iceman to find a way past the Red Bull.
Yeah, Kev into the pits once again in the McLaren. Not had his best race so far today and had a couple of front wing changes. And now Iceman lining up Ruben. Much better chance here into turn 3 this time. Will the South African be able to hold on around the outside? No, he will not, but Iceman, with his tail wagging on the exit of the corner, gives Ruben the opportunity, just a sniff of being able to fight back around the outside of turn 4 is where it'll have to be. But no, it doesn't have to be, because Ruben already gets it done before the braking zone, but almost outbrakes himself on the exit. He didn't need to overtake Iceman twice, but he's tried to do it, and he might pay the price here. Iceman, can he hold it around the outside of turn 6? No, he can't, but Ruben, once again, defending when he doesn't really need to, braking way too late, losing time through turn 7, but not as much as Iceman, who has to sit in behind for the time being. Iceman not able to get enough of the slipstream down towards turn 9 either, so that'll be Ruben consolidating his hold on P5 for now, but it's only a matter of time.
I think Iceman must have heard me saying he needs to get the move on quickly onto Ruben. Somehow, with all of that battling, Ruben and Iceman, they've lost barely half a second to A2 UK. Iceman, I think he definitely got a corner cut warning through turn 1, but here we go again. Iceman on the back of the Red Bull. He'll look to the outside, he switches to the inside. Ruben will just be looking to get the traction on the exit, will just be looking to get DRS, and I think he should be able to do so. Iceman's up into P5, but for how long? I think for long enough, because he gets fantastic drive out of turn 3.
Yeah, last time, the only reason that Ruben was able to fight back is because Iceman got it wrong on the exit of turn 3. This time, no such issue. Loenkert still out there in P7, despite not having pitted, of course. So going to be a little bit higher than where we might see him towards the end of the race, though he will be able to put on a charge on potentially a set of soft tyres at the very end. But right now, he's got Kenners for company, and Kenners tried to make a move into turn 3. He wasn't able to pull it off there. But once again, this is going to be a move on a Red Bull driver that just feels like an inevitability, really, as Kenner's out there on 5-lap-old mediums compared to 19-lap-old hards on Loenkert, as Loenkert's teammate Ruben up ahead dives into the pits for his second stop of the race.
Yeah, so Ruben will be going to the end. It's going to be a set of mediums going onto the car. And I'm surprised Ruben didn't try to stick it out for a little bit longer, as Kenner's down the inside into turn 1. Makes it look easy, but actually, no, he doesn't make it look that easy, because Loenkert gets a great run on the exit. And he might be getting a case of the old DRS as well as we make our way up the straight. In fact, nobody's got DRS. And Loenkert up into P6, but Kenner's right back down the inside. Loenkert holding around the outside will pick the position back up. But we're not done yet, Jacob, because Kenner's has the DRS. He's a little bit far back, but he might have a look down the inside. He's late on the brakes, and he tabs the rear end of the Red Bulls. Thankfully, it does not end in disaster.
Yeah, thankfully is right. Loenkert, by the way, through turn 3, that was so impressive on 20-lap-old hard tyres. To be able to get that much traction down on the exit of that corner and to hang it around the outside is seriously impressive stuff from the Dutchman. So even though he's probably not going to finish up towards the top of the upper end of the points today, he is nevertheless showing some impressive driving out there here in Austria. And yeah, Kenner's now, because he's made such a meal of getting past Loenkert, Elon Tusk is closing up to the back of these guys as well. And towards the end of the race, Elon Tusk's hard tyres are going to be in a better state than Kenner's mediums. So Kenner's might have to worry about the Canadian behind unless he can pass Loenkert now. It's looking a lot more likely him towards turn 2. Just enough space on the inside of the circuit for the Racing Point to try and make the move. They bang wheels, as Kenners isn't quite so generous with giving Loenkert the space this time as he was last time. But Loenkert forces his way around the outside once again. It's a drag race down towards turn 4. Kenners is winning it for the time being, has the inside line as well. But has he outbraked himself? No, he parks it on the apex. Great driving from Kenners, and he's up in a P6.
Yep, and now Kenners can just try to pull the pin and pull away, because Elon Tusk and Mahavi are closing in onto Loenkert, and these three, they are battling for P6 well and truly. So Kenners needs to get as much of a gap as he can, as actually Iceman has just passed A2 UK, who's had a bit of a moment on the exit of a turn 10.
Yeah, A2 UK just, through turn 10, I think just threw it off the road there as Loenkert finally heads into the pits.
I reckon
his first and only pit stop of the day.
I think this could be soft tyres going on for Loenkert. They should be able to do 13 laps. Be.
Yeah, we've seen 13 laps being done by the likes of Mahavir.
Oh, Mahavir!
Oh!
He's lost the back end going through turn 1, and he's into the wall. Mahavir, oh no. Oh. And with overheated tyres as well, he loses the back end once again, back into the wall. Mahavir was looking to be in a great battle for P6. And he's very sadly dropped it in the latter stages of the race.
Yeah, and that's the whole lap he has to do with 0 front wing on his car. So that is, yeah, pretty much the end of any decent race here for Matt Jonathan, unfortunately. Virtual safety car coming out now. That came out just too late for Lernkert, who's just pitted.
What about
Iceman? That feels so bad for him. DRS re-enabled as that was only a very, very brief virtual safety car. No one able to take advantage of it by coming into the pits. Elon Tusk pretty close behind Kenners, but they're the only 2 drivers who are within DRS range of one another on track at the moment. Owen AK also in relatively close attendance to them, but Ruben should be catching them up hand over fist on those fresh mediums, his second set of the race.
Yep, fresh mediums for Ruben, fresh mediums for Loenkert as well, so watch out for him closing in on Durex. I still reckon he should have put on those soft tyres, but I'm sure Loenkert knows what he's doing, so let's just keep an eye on the pace of both Red Bulls as Elon Tusk closes in onto Kenners.
Yeah, Elon Tusk getting closer and closer, and actually the fact that he seems to be able to stick with Kenners at the very least at the moment, and maybe even has more pace than the Racing Point up ahead, is bad news for Kenners, because on 9-lap old medium tyres, you'd expect the mediums to still be better than an 11-lap old set of hard tyres. It should only be in the sort of 3 or 4 laps from now that the hard tyres would start to take the advantage. So Kenners, the fact that he is struggling already is bad news for him and means that he's almost certainly going to lose this position come the end of the race.
Elon Tusk, let's see if he can hunt down Kenners then. Those medium tyres, they can go quite a way at Austria, but as you mentioned, they will really start to fall off, especially Kenners, who has the oldest medium tyres of anyone on the track at the moment. Ruben picks up another 3-second time penalty. That's his second of the race, as Elon Tusk getting very close to Kenners on the exit of T1.
Yeah, going to drag him up through turn 2 and up towards turn 3, the hairpin at the top of the hill, and he is reeling him in here. In the Alfa Romeo up the inside he goes. Can Kenners say anything about it whatsoever? Goes for the switchback. That's not usually the best option through here because there's so much less traction available to you on the inside of the circuit, but nevertheless Kenners is able to get the power down better than the Alfa Romeo around the outside. Elon Tusk going to have to try and hang on here around the very outside of turn 4, and he's not going to quite be able to do it. Kenners holding on to P6 for now as they go through the part of the track where it's almost impossible to overtake, as Iceman found out to his cost earlier this race, and Elon Tusk will just settle in behind Kenners for another half of the lap.
Yep, and I'm sure he'll have another go on lap 27. Iceman closing in onto Kev at 2 lap, and that's not going to cause any issues. Kev gets well out of the way, but Elon on the back of Kenners. Let's see, on the run up towards the turn 3 is where he wants to get the job done.
Yeah, that's definitely the best place to pass, but the trouble is, because you can take multiple lines through there, as we saw last lap, it's so much easier to battle back into turn 4, even if you do get overtaken in turn 3 itself. This time, Elon Tusk not close enough. So Kenners lives to fight another day in turn 3 at least, as long as he doesn't have a moment on the exit of turn 3, and he doesn't. He should be fine for turn 4 as well. So Elon Tusk not getting past Kenners quite as quickly as he would like, but there's a 7-second gap up to A2 UK up ahead. So Elon Tusk can probably afford to be patient, knowing that he's not going to be challenging for P5.
Yeah, the other thing I want to bring up as well is while Elon could be thinking, okay, I'll sit behind Kenners and try to get the run into turn 4, while that does make sense theoretically, it is really difficult unless you have much better tires than the person in ahead to get a good run on that person coming out of turn 3, unless you can get alongside them into turn 3 itself. So Elon has to try to figure out a way now on how he wants to get past Kenners. Maybe he can wait for his hards to get better, or for Kenners his mediums to really degrade, but he's got Owen AK right on his tail, and Ruben is closing up as well.
Yeah, I said Elon doesn't really need to worry too much about getting past Kenners right this very moment because of the gap to A2 UK up ahead. However, A2 UK has 9 seconds of penalties and Elon only has 3, I've just checked. So if Elon can get past Kenners, he only needs to get that gap down to 6 seconds to be able to claim P5 away from A2 UK. And with the point system, it's very much worth getting every point that you can manage here. But he's not even remotely close enough to Kenners this time around either. So Elon Tusk losing a bit of pace all of a sudden here. Owen AK closing up to the back of them, as you were mentioning. Up towards the front, I just want to do a quick review of the penalty situation. Sipos has that 1 penalty. Maverick has 6 seconds worth of penalties. Lord Chegwin has 3 seconds worth of penalties. Iceman has 0 seconds worth of penalties. So he only needs to get down that gap up ahead to the racing point to 3 seconds to be able to challenge for the podium position. However, the gap is stagnating at around 3.6 at the moment. Iceman also with older hard tyres compared to the racing point means that it's going to be an uphill challenge for him to get his nose on that podium.
And not only are those tyres older, but those tyres of the Williams have also had a bit of a spin. As, never mind, because here comes Elon Tusk having another look at Kenners down the inside. He makes the move work as well. And he really managed to find his way past, because there's no chance Kenners will have a go into turn 4. That's Elon Tusk up into P6.
Yeah, and Owen almost actually had to get out of it completely there. He was very close behind Kenners in there, but Kenners was very slow through here. Sipos, the fastest lap of the race on 15-lap old hard tyres. What are you doing out there, man? You can't just do that to them. Ruben up the inside here of turn 6, able to get past Owen. Owen trying to battle it back around the outside. That'll get better speed. For turn 7 into turn 8 he goes and does retain the position for the time being. However, Ruben has just about enough pace to force space on the outside of turn 9. Wall of death around there, but he makes it work. Lovely move from Ruben, but with the grip advantage, perhaps we should be expecting him to make that kind of move on Owen, as he'll now look to hunt down Kenners and Elon Tusk up ahead.
As speaking of Kenners, he runs a little bit wider through turn 1. Owen is going to be fairly close to Ruben, not quite close enough as we were seeing. Sipos and Mahavir just trading fastest lap times. Let's see if Sipos can answer Mahavir once again. He's making his way through the final couple of corners, so let's see if there's a little bit more in the tank of the Williams.
Yeah, of course, 1 point available for fastest lap, so it is worth challenging to try and get that fastest lap, particularly if you've had your race compromised in the way that Mahavir has. I just want to correct myself earlier. I said that Lord Chegwin had 3 seconds and Maverick had 6. It's the other way around. Maverick has 3, Lord Chegwin has 6. So at the moment, Iceman does stand to inherit that podium position, although he is sitting on 2 warnings himself, so he does need to be a little bit careful. But with 2.7 seconds between himself and Lord Chegwin, I think he's probably going to be okay unless he starts driving well off of the racetrack in all corners, with only 7 laps to go now.
And I tell you what, Lord Chegwin, the gap is kind of stable, but it's slowly, and I mean very slowly, closing in onto Maverick. The gap 2.5. It was about 2.9, I think, a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, it is definitely closing there. Maverick losing a bit of pace, but actually not falling that much further away from Sipos. So Lord Chegwin's just got some pace in this stage of the race compared to those drivers around him. Iceman even more so. A2 UK falling well away from him. Elon Tusk not close enough at the moment to try and challenge A2 UK, despite the 9 seconds of penalties that the British driver up ahead has to their name. Kenners in P7, still sticking with Elon Tusk, which is interesting. I'd have expected him to fall pretty rapidly away, and I would have expected Ruben to close the gap to Kenners and Elon Tusk quicker than he has done as well.
Somebody else we need to keep an eye out on is Mahavir Raghunathan, because there's 5 laps remaining and he has really, and I don't mean chipped, he's absolutely destroyed the gap between himself and Connor Sheridan. So there is an outside chance that the Ferrari can gain 1 extra position tonight.
Yeah, Lernker as well should be pushing out there on a relatively fresh set of medium tyres. He'll be closing down Turix up ahead, but with only P10 potentially there for Lernker, penalties pending, of course. That's probably a little bit disappointing considering he was running the contra strategy. He would have been hoping for a little bit more, but the race has been relatively clean for most of the drivers compared to what we saw in Canada and what we saw in Monaco as well. And as a result, there's less opportunities for those towards the bottom end of the points to try and sneak a good result. Here is now Kenners! Wow, that was just a matter of Elon Tusk braking a lot sooner than Kenners was ready for. He wasn't planning on making a move there, but had to avoid the rear end of the Alfa Romeo up ahead. It's a lovely rear wing, but you don't want to be looking at it quite that closely. And Kenners, yeah, just really having to check himself there and doing a good job to avoid a crash.
And now Ruben is within 1 second of Kenners as well. The Racing Point and the Red Bull are going to have a good old battle to the end of the race as we come round to start lap 32 of 36. Sipos is 12 seconds clear of Maverick. He is absolutely flying, but this battle for P6 is just starting to hot up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenna's still in with a shout, which we would not necessarily have expected. I'm just going to check the penalty situation between these three drivers. Elon sitting only on 3 seconds of penalty.
He's gone into the back once again of Elon.
Oh.
Elon spins up the rear wheels, and we didn't have the best angle to look at that, so I don't know if Kenna's just got caught out again. As Elon goes defensive, Kenna's looks to the outside, and the Racing Point will try to hold it. And I think he's got the move done as well. Round the outside of a turn of 4. Kenna's up to P6, and now Ruben is going to be the next one chipping away at the Alpha as Iceman picks up that first time penalty of this race.
Yeah, so that time penalty for Iceman isn't too bad for him.
He's right on the outside, round the outside of turn 9. No way! He gets squeezed. He's going to try to hold it around the outside of 10. He can't make it work, but Ruben, he really wants to get past Elon nice and quick. Elon has DRS himself. Ruben looks to the outside once again. He doesn't want the inside. He wants the outside. And this time, he'll get the job done. There's contact. And Elon is facing the wrong way. Thankfully, he goes. Otherwise, Owen would have had an almighty smash with the Alpha. But that's Elon down to P9.
Yeah, it's so hard to get two cars side by side through turn 1 because it tightens so much through the middle of the corner, and that's what Elon Tusk has found out to his cost
contact
here.
with Lowenka and Turek, and that was almost MotoGP-esque on the run up through a turn 2 into turn 3. Lowenka facing the wrong way. He's going to drop down the order as Ruben hunts down Kenners for P6.
Well, I've commentators cursed the cleanliness of this race. I described it as a surprisingly clean race a few laps ago, and all of a sudden everyone's crashing into each other all over the place. I was also going to say that Elon Tusk had the upper hand in that particular battle because he only had 3 seconds of time penalties compared to the 9 seconds of Kenner's, and at least 6, I believe, for Ruben as well. Elon Tusk putting himself up to 6 as well, but it doesn't matter really so much anymore because he's already had that incident and fallen down the order. Ruben will claim the position away from Kenner's as things stand on penalties, but he'll want to claim it on track as well, and he'll be looking to do that up towards turn 3 now.
DRS open. Ruben uses his ERS. And there's going to be absolutely nothing Kenners will have as an answer to Ruben. Ruben sweeps up into P6.
Yeah, good stuff from Ruben. Pulling a lot of very impressive moves. That one, not quite so impressive as he was able to get the move done pretty much before the braking zone of turn 3 there. But nevertheless, doing what he needed to. You can only beat what's put in front of you. And the defense from Kenners was lacking just a little bit there, though I don't think that was really any fault of the Racing Point. His tires will be absolutely screaming at him by now. 19 laps on that set of mediums. They will not be feeling very good whatsoever. Sipos leading the way. 13 seconds to Maverick. Another 4 seconds back from Maverick to Lord Chegwin, who's starting to ail a little bit towards the end of this race. Iceman closing him down. 1.8 seconds. But with Chegwin with more penalties than Iceman, I don't think it's going to matter too much.
And the fact that Iceman and Chegwin are closing up on each other and the position they're in has also meant Connor Sheridan has had to abide by blue flags, and it's helped Mahavir close in that little bit onto the Alfa Romeo. So Mahavir should, on track anyway, be able to take a P12. But Sipos is coming to the final corner now to start his final lap. So here we go. It's time penalties once again. It's going to determine how the podium looks.
Yeah, at the moment, I believe what it's going to be is it's going to be Sipos, Maverick, and then Iceman in that order. Iceman has 3 seconds of penalties. I believe the same is true of Maverick. I'm just going to double check that one here. Yes. Oh, no, in fact, two 3-second time penalties for Maverick. Same for Lord Chegwin. Iceman only with 3 seconds. So if he can get within 3 seconds of Maverick, he can claim P2. But that is a huge ask, and I don't think that's going to happen unless there's some kind of incident here. So it does look like it's going to be Sipos leading the way from Maverick and Iceman, unless there's absolute drama on the last lap. Speaking of drama, though, Mahavir Raghunathan and Connor Sheridan both ghosted, both battling through turn 3. And meanwhile, there's someone trying to lap them behind as well.
Yeah, and I think they're both ghosting for Iceman. Iceman takes the DRS, but the battle going on behind us, they just goes through each other. Mahavir and Connor will not be ghosting through each other. We saw a little bit of contact between the two of them. Mahavir unlaps himself in the process. It's almost a case of a time trial racing. Sipos will come up. Sipos takes the win. Mahavir gets another time penalty. Let's go back to the battle. Mahavir and Iceman are neck and neck. Mahavir's got the job done on Connor Sheridan. We'll see what time penalties have to say about that. As Connor Sheridan picks up a time penalty, he might live to regret that one. Maverick takes P2 ahead of a Lord Chegwin. Iceman jumps up to P3. Connor jumps back ahead of Maverick. Where is A2 UK? He's coming through the final corner now. He'll be taking P5. Ruben is 9 seconds behind, and A2 got a fair few time penalties, so I think Ruben's going to get fairly close. Will it be enough to jump up into P5? No, it is not. Kenners will come around. He'll take a P7. Owen jumps ahead of Kenners, and so does Elon Tusk as well.
Yeah, Elon Tusk, even despite being spun around through turn 1 in that incident with Ruben when he was battling with Kenners, still finishes ahead of him due to penalties. So Kenners won't be feeling too good about the amount of penalties he picked up today. Lowenkert up towards the line, and he will be the final driver to come across the line here, securing P11 in the Red Bull. And yeah, a very interesting race. Driver of the day, Churix, I do not agree. I think Sepos is unquestionably the driver of the day here. What a performance from that man today.
And look at that little dance that Sepos gives. It was impeccable from Sepos. He didn't make any mistakes here, to be honest. And once again, it is a Williams on the top step of the podium.
Yep, as we have been seeing every single race since Sepos arrived in this league, it's been him and Iceman trading P1 and P2, but that particular spell is broken by Maverick here today in the Ferrari. Perhaps the hero we need, taking P2 and putting the brakes ever so slightly on the Williams dominance of the last 3 races.
Yeah, it's also good performance by Racing Point as well. They're going to get some big points in the championship. I don't know if it's going to be enough to leapfrog Ferrari, but it's definitely going to close that gap just a little bit. However, on that note, we're going to be heading into a short break, and we will be right back with our interviews with the top 3. If you guys in the chat have any questions you'd like us to ask, make sure to throw them, and we'll do our very best to ask those. We'll see you guys in a short bit.
Sweet spot, I'm feeling good. The sun is shining, I knew it would. The world's a playground, I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out, I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out, I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out, I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Big stage, I got my crew, I'll get you moving, it's what I do. The party's starting, it's going down. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out, I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out, I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out, I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check me out. Check me out. Just check me. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, spot. I'm feeling good. The sun is shining. I knew it would. The world's a playground. I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm on the big stage. I got my crew. I'll get you moving. It's what I do. The party's starting. It's going down. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. Check me out. Check me out. Just check me. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm in a sweet spot. I'm feeling good. The sun is shining. I knew it would. The world's a playground. I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up. Yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for some good old interviews. We have, as you can see on your screen, Maverick with a camera. He waves. Absolutely fantastic. We also have a race winner, Sipos Benz, and second, oh, pardon me, was it second or third place? I've already forgotten. Third place man, Iceman. Let's start off with our race winner, Sipos. I don't want to put it like this, but you had a very boring race. Either way, an absolutely fantastic drive for yourself. You've got another win under your belt. How does it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite an uneventful race for me. I thought it will be much more closer to the top 3. Yeah, I thought I will be disqualified, but yeah, I managed to get only one penalty, so it's 2 wins for me. It's quite a hard track, yeah, but thank you.
We'll go over to Maverick next. Maverick, finally, you've had a race void of any incident, void of front wing losses, and you're really able to show your pace. P2 at Austria. What are the emotions like?
I mean, it was a very interesting race. Full of action.
Oh, Maverick, do the mute on the OBS thing.
Hold on. Yep, full of action.
Perfect.
Up 2 positions, lap 1, which really did help. Great side-by-side battle with my teammate, and then also with A2 UK, which really did help overall with the race. Managed to then pull a gap to Cheggers, and then overtake Iceman, which also did help, and then he pitted. I went long. I usually do when he pits. see if he can get put up in traffic. He did get a little bit of traffic and then binned it, so it was an easy overtake. After that, it was kind of just cruise to the line. I wasn't going to push. I wasn't going to make it harder for myself. I wasn't going to make it easier for anyone else. It was just that virtual safety car where I lost a second and a half, which was not fantastic. I mean, yeah. And then after that, I saved some ERS and then just pushed to the line and then got a penalty on the last lap, which also wasn't very great. But yeah, luck finally at last, and yeah, it paid off.
Well, fantastic second from you. Moving on to our third place man, and still, of course, championship leader, Iceman. First of all, what happened with that spin through, what was it, turn 8 from yourself?
Yeah, no clue. I doubt it was contact with Mahavir because he left me space. I don't know. It was a weird one because at the end of the race, I think with Urix or someone else, I tried the same move at the same place, even hit the curb, and nothing happened. But I felt something weird in the force feedback, which spun me. So I don't know really. But yeah, that was it. I need to watch the replay. I doubt it was any contact with Mahavir. He was clean. So yeah, the game decided to spin me to add some more spice to the race.
Well, I'm sure it would have left you very frustrated. The other thing I wanted to ask was a very early pit stop from yourself. Did you ever consider going for the soft-medium strategy, or did you know the hards was always the way to go for yourself?
I actually never considered going to the mediums because I was only one lap down on my strategy. I would have pitted on lap 10. So basically, I had some software due to using time trial setup, which I barely modified. So that was my plan. I saw that I was losing some time before Maverick. He was braking way early for my liking. And I mean, not a knock on him. I was generally just getting slowed down, so I thought the best way was to do an undercut, and I thought it would have worked actually if I didn't get unlucky at turn 8.
Ooh, strong words from Iceman. Sipos, I want to go back to you quickly. A big win. You're now up to second in the championship. It is a massive gap to Iceman. Do you think you can close it?
Good question. I would like to, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. It's just too big. He has to retire for a few races to this happen. But yeah, I will do my best for the rest of the races, and we will see.
I think the better question, if I may, is if you had been here since the start of the season, Sipos, would you be leading the championship, or would it be Iceman?
Absolutely.
All right, excellent news, good stuff.
Aladar, any further questions you'd like to ask our top three?
Yeah, I suppose I'll give Iceman a chance to respond to that one, see if he's got anything to say about that.
Actually, bad news to Sipos. The last penalty I got, well, actually my first penalty, my only one of the race. The last warning I got, was for no reason. So I just slowed down. So I will definitely take that one to the stewards. I didn't get any more warnings. So I think I will be second in the race. But yeah, I'm obviously very happy for both Maverick and Sipos. Maverick has had some no-shows and also bad luck in the previous races. So I'm very happy to see him back on top. And also for Sipos, I'm very happy for him. If you follow my team Sidemax Motorworks on Twitter, you'll see why shortly after.
Fantastic. Well, thank you to all three of you for joining us. I think we will wrap things up here. I know Cheggers and Kenners are waiting for an interview. You know what, Maverick, why don't you drag them on in? We've always got more time.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Cheggers. Hello, Kenners. How you both doing?
Hello. Good, yeah. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. We've had some issues, but we've powered through. Cheggers, I'll start with you. Canada wasn't a lucky race, it seems. There's a lot of pace for you right now.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I mean, lucky and unlucky in two different places, but that's a different race. But yeah, quali pace was just so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Fantastic to hear. And Kenneth, your race, you had Ruben on you right at the end. Did you think you could keep him behind, or did you just know that he had way more pace?
I think he had fresher tyres, I think, so there wasn't much I could have done in the end. But I was pretty happy with my pace, really, given my qualifying stuff, so it went quite well.
Another question for Kenneth, real quick. How did it feel overtaking what looked like at least 4 or 5 drivers in one corner in turn 4 on the opening lap?
Oh, that was great. I was like, I just went there. I was like, wait, I can get people here. And I went down inside of everyone. It was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. It was great to watch as well. I very much enjoyed that one. Very satisfying, somehow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Well, thank you to everyone for joining us for interviews. We're going to wrap things up there. If you guys haven't already, do make sure to subscribe to Formula X Racing on YouTube. You can also see the social links to Twitter and Instagram on the bottom right hand of your screen. We'll be back next week at same time, Friday, 8 p.m. for the start of qualifying. That will be at Silverstone. I've been Yousuf MilkyCereal, joined by Jacob Hancox. And until next time, guys, stay fast,